I've carried words like stones inside my chest, heavy and sharp enough to cut through my ribs. The night presses close, wrapping around me like a shroud, filling empty corners of my room with echoes of all I never spoke. Shadows crawl along the walls, curling through my thoughts, pulling me into hollow corridors of my mind. There was a sentence I wanted to whisper, a truth that could have shattered the silence, but fear held my tongue hostage. It clenched my throat, tightened around my ribs, and stole the sound of my own voice. Now the words live in the darkness, whispering in echoes I cannot escape, tracing their way along the edges of my consciousness. They haunt me, linger in the gaps between heartbeats, press against the thin walls of my sanity. The saddest thing I never said is a lie, a specter in the quiet, a constant reminder of what I left unsaid. It traces every fracture in my chest, every scar hidden behind smiles and nods, every silent collapse that no one witnessed. The silence has teeth, it bites, it lingers, it gnaws at me in ways no one sees. It carries a weight of love I never spoke, of apologies I never offered, of confession swallowed in the dark. Even the walls seem to remember my restraint, echoing my hesitation back at me. And in that echo I realize some truths once unsaid follow you forever. The saddest thing I never said haunts me, a shadow stitched into the fabric of my soul. It is the love I conceal, the pain I swallow, the words I never spoke. Even when the world smiles, even when I appear fine, it lingers, heavy and cold, a ghost whispering through the corridors of my mind. The saddest thing I never said is mine alone, a wound that never healed, a truth locked in shadows, and yet I breathe, I survive somehow. I've walked through crowded streets where laughter and light mark the tremor in my chest. Every face blurs, every step feels distant, and the unsaid words press against my throat with every heartbeat. I rehearse them in the dark, letting them slip between my fingers like smoke, dissolving into the black of night. The shadows know them better than anyone else, holding each syllable in their cold embrace, guarding them where no light can reach. I see faces in my mind, the ones I wanted to tell, the ones who might have understood, but the words never escape. The silence grows heavier with each passing moment, echoing in the hallways of memory like footsteps in an empty building. I cradle the weight of restraint, the tremor of courage that never found a voice. Even now, it presses against my chest like a ghost leaning in to remind me. The strongest hearts carry the heaviest silence. The unsaid words linger in the corners of my mind, in the labyrinth of thoughts where fear and regret twist together. They whisper, they claw, they echo, a reminder that even in presence, absence can live within you. The saddest thing I never said is a shadow I carry, yet it shapes me, molds me, haunts me in ways I cannot escape. Never said haunts me, a shadow stitched into the fabric of my soul. It is the love I conceal, the pain I swallow, the words I never spoke. Even when the world smiles, even when I appear fine, it lingers, heavy and cold, a ghost whispering through the corridors of my mind. The saddest thing I never said is mine alone, a wound that never healed, a truth locked in shadows, and yet I breathe. I survive somehow. I talk to the ceiling, whisper apologies to the night, confess the cracks in my chest to the darkness, the memories I buried too deep to name. The shadows bend and twist, a labyrinth of silent echoes, mirroring every fragment of me I never allowed the world to see. I imagine letting the words slip, spilling like ink on the torn pages. But fear presses against my chest, heavy and relentless, and I retreat back into the silence. Even now I carry the ghosts of all I never said, tracing their path along the walls of my mind, trembling beneath the weight of my own restraint. And yet I breathe with them, haunted but alive, cradling the sorrow, honoring the silence. If anyone could hear the words I never said, they would tremble, afraid of the shadows, the echoes, the hollowness of unsaid love and regret. But they remain mine, sacred, heavy and eternal, even in absence. The night holds them, even in silence. The darkness remembers the saddest thing I never said is not gone. It lives in me, a ghost I cradle, a wound I wear, a truth I never gave voice to.
The saddest thing I never said haunts me,
a shadow stitched into the fabric of my soul. It is a love I conceal, the pain I swallow, the words I never spoke. Even when the world smiles, even when I appear fine, it lingers heavy and cold, a reminder I cannot release. The saddest thing I never said is mine alone,
a ghost in the silence, a wound that never